let's say you pick something very slow, not even like a weeping holly, but let's say like an oak. Let's say that you're doing a nice oak, you've got a good shape to it, and then right next door to it, you want to put in an elm or a cottonwood, or even like a weeping willow or something like that. That weeping willow is going to choke that out, guaranteed, guaranteed. Even you're going to be cutting and shaving off that willow probably about 500 or 600% more than you are off of a oak, because those roots are just so brutal.
So it'd be easier to do it with mostly all slow-growing trees, kind of thing.
Just ones that kind of have a tendency on, complementing each other. Something that's smaller. That also comes back to, well, get to know your plant, the habit of the plant. Again, try not to do Google. If you guys have more questions, we can actually answer more local questions than I think a lot of Google sites, published in Edinburgh.
Is there any particular types of plants that would not do well for bonsai?
Certain bedding plants. I've seen people try to do it with basil. I've seen people try to do it. What was the one the guy tried to do last year? Oh, he tried to do a purple coneflower.
Oh.
It's going to get that big. It's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
I would, unless you really want to stay on top of it. With some people, once they actually get home and life happens, they don't necessarily have a lot of time that they can actually dedicate to it. So I would probably stay away from a little bit more high maintenance plants, such as the weeping willow, your cottonwoods, your elms. Even though that one I made right here, that's been in that pot for probably about, I was looking for Sammy. I think I probably did that probably about 3 or 4 months ago. But I've already had to trim the roots on that twice.
Really?
Yeah, it's an elm. but it's going to be worth it. I don't know if anybody saw this. I know these two did. But I braided the top of it right here in the middle. So eventually these roots are going to encompass this rock, and there's going to be a big rounded canopy joined by a braided trunk right here, right in the middle. That's kind of like what I mean by I look to see how the plant's going to look in 5 to 7 years. Mm-hmm. In 5 to 7 years, that thing's going to look pretty vicious.
So you said you did that 3 or 4 months ago. You've already did the roots.
Yeah, I've already had to shave them twice.
Just because you know that kind of foot, or is something that's
just because I know it's an elm and I know its growth habits. I know how the root system moves on this useful weed, and I believe it was a gift. Wasn't it a gift? Wasn't it Carrie Tingley?
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome aboard.
That's beautiful. I love that.
See, that was one of the huge bonuses of finding that 2-in-1, because that's a great, and I haven't even gotten to the top yet. But just so you can see the curve, and once you start watering, all that dirt's gonna wash off there. So you're gonna have that nice trunk color all the way down once that dirt washes off there.
But you have a lot to trim off the top now, don't you? Because you took so many roots out.
I didn't really take that many out because, because the other half is still right there. But I don't know how much cleaning up I really need to do with this one. Maybe, you guys will probably get mad at me here. Good clean multi-trunk. And when this thing flowers, it's going to be amazing. You saw the flower. The flower's going to be probably about that big. And the bonus of doing plant material, you know, like these guys that are going to have that big a flower, they can make them droop. They can make them droop a little bit, which is going to be pretty sweet, especially for this one. But there is some dead stuff. There's some dead stuff in here that I like to get out and clean. That guy's going to go goodbye. And again, a good set of pruners, guys. Good set of pruners. I've got some over here. We've got some inside. The sharper your blade, the better cut that you can do. And even just with like general pruning of like your fruit trees, your ornamentals, your larger shade trees, when you go to prune them, don't prune flush. See, you don't do that. Leave a little stub, kind of like this, because as your plant grows, it's going to grow into that stump, almost kind of like a larger scar. But there's trees in everybody's neighborhood, in every city in Albuquerque, that, you know, they'll have some arborist guy come out and he'll prune the entire tree flush. Customer's happy. Nice, good, clean look. Nice, good, smooth bark. In 7 years, as that tree expands, because it was flush, it's going to grow outside of that. So you're going to create a hole on that trunk. On that trunk. A really good place that you can see examples of that is the UNM golf course. Yep, you can. There are holes large enough to where owls have actually moved into the trunk of the tree because 20 years ago it was cut flush. You know, you always have to leave a little bit so your plant can actually grow into it. And I'm going to take him off. I'm going to take these two off because I'm going to go for a little higher canopy on it. That's that one's cool.
I'll buy it. I'll buy it.
I'll give you a deal. And
Seems like there's so much less feeder root on that big one than on the little holly that you left. And I'm just wondering, is there really enough in that little bit to sustain the whole thing?
because they were planted as two separate plants, they both have the same amount of root system to keep everything, this grouping, above ground level alive. Because they were two. If it would have been one, then yeah, we would have to, we would still be shaving and combing, but we got lucky.
You sawed off half of the butt.
Yeah, that part was okay, especially once we found out that it was two, because on the bottom of this, I spread most of those feeder roots along the whole bottom of the pot, so it'll be good. And watering, I totally skipped watering on you cats. You have to water them. They're brand new plants. They need water. There's certain junipers, even though that's a spruce, but there's certain junipers like this guy. When I first did this one, I kept it in just a big basin because they need a lot of water. If you skip one watering on a plant system that was just 80% shaved off the bottom and the top, it's going to be going through stress and it's going to need some more water. It's going to need some thirsty.
So what kind of moisture level are you looking for in the soil?
There's not really a percentage because there's way too many variables to actually answer that. You know, like vermiculite and perlite and whether or not it's got a polymer in it and, you know, that kind of thing. What I would do is just when you go to do a just like a finger test, you can just rake your stuff aside and go, okay, I'm cool. But also if it looks dry on top, then what I would do is go down a little further. What I do at my house, because I've got a little grow room, what I do is I've got I have a chopstick, and I'll stick it in, and your chopstick will show exactly where it's dry and where it's not. And again, don't keep them stagnant in old water. You know when you go to put this in your tray, or like this guy right here, if that water down there gets old, then that means the feeder roots that are underneath the water in the very bottom of that pot aren't getting air, which is huge. Which is huge. No. Yeah, that was a huge no. This is one you would fertilize with a higher middle number because it's got your standard flower on there, not like your pseudo boogie flower, but just like more of a real cat.
Can I tell outside now? Could it be
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no, just because they have been inside this building since we started getting cold. There are certain varieties that you can keep, but because these have been inside this building, I'd probably wait. I'd probably treat just about everything except for this, that. Everything else on the well, not this guy, but everything else can go outside because they were already used to this year's cold temperatures. But anything that's been in shelter, you kind of want to just use a little bit of caution. If you feel that there's any kind of percentage that it's going to crash, just bring it inside. You can keep it outside. During like a day like this, keep it outside during the afternoon. In the evenings before we get cold, just bring it back in. Or just keep it inside and put it in a south-facing window with good bright light. Boom! You'll watch that thing fly. You'll watch that one fly. Let's see, I don't know if I'll. This one, I think I'm gonna do something a little different with this guy. Sorry, guys. So this guy, because of the way that this root system is, it'll need to be supported down on this side. So we'll do that wiring. We'll do that wiring I was telling you about. Bottom and this way. There we go. Now it's a little flush, and I like that off center kind of look. And it's eventually it's going to swoosh this way, but all plants are going to eventually grow straight up. So if you wanted to continue it casting down, what you could do is have it mounted like this on your plant stand, and then have it trail. You can wire it, put your little wire to train it straight down so it runs down the side of your little plant stands, or just set it on your table right like that. Because eventually, after we do this, guys, I'm going to take off a lot of this lower section, like this guy's going, this guy's going to go, just so we can see the contorted of these smaller ones right here, because I really like the contorted part of those.
Do you actually spray your bonsai trees? Or do you just water them with a watering can?
It kind of depends what they are. I had one that I wish I had here for you guys, but it sold so quick. There's a picture of it on the website. It was a long kind of oval bowl, probably about that long, that had about 3 or 4 different types of ferns in there. The ferns, yes, I would mist. You could do that. Some people say mist them. Some people say don't mist them. But if you do decide to go ahead and mix them, don't use tap water. Because when you use tap water, basically you're going to have the appearance of this. All the hard water marks.
And you can't get that stuff off at all. It's a great opportunity
have a rain barrel and the use of a rain barrel because that water's coming off your roof. And the rain barrel will hold 50, 60 gallons of water. Well, what are you going to do with the rain barrel? Maybe you're going to water a tree, but great for watering houseplants, misting your plants. The rain barrels all are from recycled food barrels, so it's potable. You could use the water. I don't know why you would, but those barrels are all used for food.
That appearance on the
What if
roses.
you don't have readily
That is actually
accessible rain barrel water?
what that is hard water.
Distilled, bottled.
And it's the salts that are in that
Something that's,
that eventually-
especially
that's gonna
if you use a water softener in your house that uses salt. And most water softeners use salt. Just terrible for them.
Right.
Let them go dormant in the winter, or does that not matter?
Because it's an elm, it's really not going to matter. Your elms are usually meant because they've been naturalized since we got that lovely gift. Outside they're used to it, but I have this inside of my grow tent inside my house, and it loves it. It loves it, but it's not getting any major growth off here because the root systems are just moving so fast on this thing that it's trying to get a good hold on the ground, which it does, but it starts to send out like little leaves like right there. But then those kind of died back after I shaved them. It still is going strong, but the naturalized ones, yes, they do prefer to go dormant. Is that going to harm this? Keeping it 100% inside in the season, it's not going to hurt it. It won't hurt it at all. So that one's got some exposed roots on it, which I'm cool with. And again, back to the pecan shell. I'll show you why I'm doing this. Now we're gonna shape that bottom there. And again, a good pair of scissors, a good pair of pruners. This leaf off, and I'll show you why I'm just doing that one leaf right there. I'll come on this side. It's giving me the flowers, so I want to keep as many of those on top, not underneath. See, these two are going to come off, so I can keep that flat to it. But I'm going to keep all those little flower buds right there. And again, this is another one that I would definitely, do the root stimulator, which we have year round. It's one of our highest recommended products. All of us use it. Take that off. Leave that little flower. And I put a little bit of accent rock around it just to kind of lighten up the soil a little bit. And I left all these roots on top out, so as it grows, here it goes, I'm sorry. So as it grows, you're going to see this guy coming in, and these guys are going to be gnarly coming out of the pot on this side again in about 5 to 7 years. Because that's he taught me that that's one of the best ways to look at that, kind of like the guy with the weeping willows and the cottonwoods, because all that's going to be so gnarled, and it's going to spin around this side, almost making it look like a little natural bench. Yeah. And these are eventually going to turn into something called aerial roots, this is the kind of root, like this guy right here, that eventually you could do that dead wood technique, to where it looks like you've got this beautiful flowering cam right over here, but just this gnarly dead root system over here, which isn't dead. So it'll. Oh, I'm gonna get you. Those guys are eventually going to be probably about as big as my thumb, coming out like this. They're going to all start to grow out real nice. Just a matter of time. This is a known one. sorry. Here. Yeah, see, that's going way sit once it gets going. And again, you know, this is another one right here where you won't have to do any kind of shaving or pruning, you know, for quite a long period of time. And I just saw these guys right here. I'm going to take that guy off. I'm going to take that guy off, and this guy right here. There we go. More of that flat look.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think it's pretty sweet. But yeah, it's pretty much most of the basics for everything. Did anybody have any more questions or comments or anything anybody wants to know? Just let me know. Well, thank you guys. Right on.